We bought an Alfa Romeo Giulia Veloce, and in this video I'll tell you why. And what's good about it, what's not so good, and how much it cost. Alright, before we start talking about price, let's get into why. So regular viewers of the channel will know he had an Evora and a 205 GTI, two of the best driver's road going cars you can get, really. I'd always hankered after another driver's car. The reason we sold those was so I could invest in my son's karting career. He also has his own YouTube channel. I'll put the link somewhere on here that you can go and follow him if you're interested in karting. Anyway, that left double hole in the garage for a while. I filled it temporarily. You may see the other videos on the channel with a Mini Cooper S, the 3rd gen model, which, to be honest, didn't really get along with, didn't really gel with, and ended up selling pretty much for what I paid for it, which was good news. But there was a hole and it needed to be filled. I've been researching Giulia Veloces for probably a number of years. It's a car that has featured on my must-buy car list, so I just had to have one. Let's explore it in a bit more detail. Let's talk about the main reasons for buying it. One of the main reasons is just look at the thing. There isn't a bad angle on this car. It's a true 4-seater car with back doors. There are a few 4-seater cars with back doors that you can get. This is sort of competes with, I guess, the M Sport, the AMG S line German equivalent type models, but none of them really look as good, as polished, as shaped, as stylish and as cool as a Giulia. I just love the look of this thing. There isn't a bad angle on it. It's an extremely attractive car, very, very subtle. Number one reason why we wanted it, just looks great. It's just, I love it, love it, love it. A couple of other reasons. It's inherently sporty, being an Alfa. You get, albeit it's a 2-litre engine, turbocharged, it's just shy of 280 brake horsepower through the rear wheels, which is pretty cool. You also get these lovely fixed metal sort of anodized paddle shifts, and nice and big. You're not these crappy little clicky buttons that you get on the steering wheel. I really like that. A nice flat bottom steering wheel inside. It's just got that pedigree running through it. It's such a cool thing. Spec-wise, it's pretty decent. It's got this lovely metallic paint. It needs a clean, so apologies for that. It's keyless entry. They all were keyless entry. This one has got bright red leather. It's not my first car to have black with bright red leather. It wouldn't be my first choice. I'd prefer red with the brown leather, would be where I'm at now, but it's kind of cool. Heated seats, heated steering wheel, and very coolly, again, sporting pedigree, this wonderful start-stop button on the steering wheel. There's no reverse camera spec'd in this car. That was an optional extra. I think things like sunroof were an optional extra. You do get Bluetooth connectivity, you get cruise control, you get auto lights, think auto wipers. You've got the 3 driver modes, which we'll talk about a bit when we go into it. This car is not perfect, but we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that are wrong with it. Ooh, but it has got a very decent sized boot as well, and a nice boot lining. Ooh, boot doesn't like staying up. Very Italian. Anyway, let's take it out for a drive, talk a little bit more about it. Oh, it's also got DAB radio with a shark fin aerial. Enabled comfort mode, which means my seat goes back whenever I get in. As soon as I hit the start button, it should move me forward, which I quite like. The handbrake is supposed to also come on, which it does, but it doesn't auto come off. So you do have to remember to hit that electronic button to push it to turn off, which is when you're in, or when I'm used to driving our, and I didn't put it in drive, I put it in neutral, there you go. When you're used to driving our hybrid Mercedes Auto, that does just take the handbrake off. I don't even think about the handbrake in that vehicle. Driving this car is what it's all about, being an Alfa Romeo, and it just, as soon as you get in it, it feels very comfortable, although it's rear wheel drive and designed with that sporting sort of nature as part of it. In fact, the quadrifolio version of this broke the 4-seater car Nürburgring record when it first came out, I think. Whether that's been matched since, I'm not sure. So it was all about driving dynamics, this car, and you really feel it straight from the off. The steering, the way it's been set up, is just so nice. People talk about that a lot, and it is all true. The interior wraps around the driver. You've got this big center console. The dials are all very clear. It's very well laid out. It takes a bit of getting used to the dashboard with all of the numbers and how to scroll through it. I'm going to do a separate video on that and cover it in a bit more detail. I'm going to cover some of the subtleties of using the paddle shifts and switching between manual mode, etc. But just can't say enough. I'm in N mode. I can't remember what N is. N is, it's not normal, it stands for something else. A is your more efficient mode, and D is your dynamic. That's your sort of sport mode, DNA. But it feels very smooth and very comfortable. Our Mercedes, I keep comparing it because that's the equivalent car that we have at the moment, C-Class Hybrid, has air suspension. It doesn't feel as smooth and as comfortable as this car. It's so nice. Lovely supportive bucket seats as well. Things that go wrong with Alfa Giulias, if you're familiar with the model and you're on the Facebook groups, you'll see it quite a bit. They suffer with bad 12-volt batteries from factory. The 12-volt batteries weren't really very up to much. Symptoms of that include it starts disconnecting functions gradually, particularly the heated rear screen. Make sure if you're buying one that the 12 volts been replaced. Most of them should have been by now, so it should be all good. So it's a delight to drive. You've got a great driving position. And what some people will talk about is the interior quality. It's definitely not an Audi. But the Mercedes isn't an Audi either, and again I'm comparing it to the C-Class. Not everything in the interior of the Giulia is particularly poor quality. The one thing that does stand out, and they fixed it in later models, is the gear selector in the middle. That does feel like the plastic quality of a child's sort of Fisher-Price toy. That's a little bit disappointing. Before we get on to the price of what we paid for this, let's talk about some of the negatives. Some of them are particular to this version. First of all, this car is a 2018 model, which makes it about 7 years old. It's got quite high miles. It's at 96,000 miles. It's nearly got 100,000 miles. But reports that Giulia engines in the Veloce are pretty reliable. I'm not particularly worried, and it certainly doesn't feel like it's got that kind of mileage driving it around. It also needs a service. It was last serviced at 90,000 miles last November. It's now June, and it said in the book that it needed to be done at 96. I've booked that in with a specialist. It does need an MOT in just under 2 months' time, so it doesn't quite have a full MOT, so that's also been booked in. The alloy wheels need a refurb. They're not perfect. They're pretty... So I've got a quote to get them done, but I'll probably do that in a month or so's time. They're the standard 18-inch turbine alloy wheels that came by default, I think. They operate with run flat tyres. This car does still have run flat tyres on, and even with those run flats, it still runs very smoothly indeed, which is quite nice. The passenger seat is broken. I need to fix it. It doesn't move backwards and forwards electronically anymore. Part of the mechanism is snapped because the previous owner got a bottle trapped under there, and I think the plastic bar that contains the bit of mechanics that rotates to move the seat forwards and backwards has snapped. It seems quite weak plastic. That needs to be fixed, so I'm on the lookout for a red leather Giulia Veloce Sport seat so I can fix that. Apart from those things, that is it. talk price then. This Veloce, and bearing in mind I was only just looking at one back end of last year, trying to get a bit of a deal on it, and I offered the guy 13,000. That was the sort of spec I wanted, albeit it had a bit of an oil leak issue and smelled of oil. He'd run it to the tyres had gone bald. Those sorts of little markers sort of put me off. I offered him 13 and he was like, no way. He wanted way more. He wanted 15. 18 months before that, so sort of 2 years-ish ago, when I was looking at them, the cheapest I could find them was low 20s for sort of 2017, the sort of earliest Veloces. You couldn't really get them much cheaper than that. Now they've really come down in price. They are a great used buy as far as I'm concerned. I paid, and it begins with a 10 UK British pounds, £10,900 for this, which before I bought it I checked on Motorway and We Buy Any Car. That was pretty much what they were offering too. Sure, they may have chipped it down a bit once they'd seen the wheels and the fact it needed a service and an MOT, but even so I think that is a pretty good deal. Alright, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, write in the comments, tell us what you think. If you are new to the channel, have a look. We do try and focus mostly on drivers' cars on the channel. There's lots of cool cars, so go and have a look, subscribe. We'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.